This woman is about to die of thirst, but she's not drinking the half bottle of water she has. Instead, she's pouring it all over her face. Then she picks up the empty bottle and stands on a high spot. She starts licking the rainwater dripping from a metal surface. But this doesn't satisfy her at all. So she gathers the water droplets and stores them in the bottle. But this rusty-tasting rainwater is no better than seawater. Soon, the woman starts vomiting. She's been trapped inside a shipping container for a whole week. To make matters worse, outside the container is an endless sea. Seawater is continuously seeping in through small holes. Although the woman hasn't had water for days, this seeping seawater is undrinkable. Just when she's on the brink of despair, she suddenly feels drops of water on her face. She slowly looks up, and to her amazement, it's raining outside. The woman stands up in disbelief. She greedily enjoys this gift from above. Then, without wasting time, she quickly takes out the storage containers and places them on the table. She uses them to collect this precious freshwater. She even refuses to discard a small tin can, and after cleaning it, she plans to use it to store rainwater. However, in an unfortunate mishap, she accidentally breaks the pull tab. But as she looks at the lifted lid, after soothing her baby, she started to act. The shipping container was only missing one side. The woman could easily open it like a can. She found a point of leverage and pulled. She said, "Let's do it." First, she firmly held onto two straps. Then, she used all her strength to pull downwards. With her persistent effort, the gap grew larger and larger. Finally, the woman pushed her entire body weight against it. With a series of creaking sounds, the iron panel was fully opened. The long-lost lights shone on the woman's face. At that moment, she looked stunning. However, when she emerged, her smile disappeared. She saw the vast ocean, and the shipping container was like a tiny boat on it. She herself was just a speck, but compared to the dark, damp interior, the outside was indeed more comfortable. What comforted the mother even more was that her child had finally relieved himself. She casually threw the diaper into the sea. Unexpectedly, it attracted small fish looking for food. The woman was delighted to see this. She quickly bent down to catch one. But on this over 2-meter-high shipping container, she couldn't even touch the seawater. So she improvised a makeshift fish spear. With excitement, she hurled it at the school of fish. But due to her lack of outdoor survival experience, the woman's countless attempts at throwing the spear ended in failure. In the end, she not only failed to catch any fish, but also exhausted herself. She collapsed on the ground, gasping for water. But just then, she suddenly noticed a plane flying overhead. Without wasting a second, the woman rushed into the container. She removed a piece of glass from the TV screen. Then she eagerly tried to climb out. However, she paid no attention to the sharp edge at the break. Her thigh was instantly cut open, and blood flowed continuously, but she had no time to tend to it. She picked up the glass and held it above her head, trying to attract the plane's attention with reflected light. But after standing there for a while, no one noticed, and her leg injury had worsened during this delay. Helpless, the woman had to return to the container. Finally, after sewing up her wound, she collapsed among a pile of wired headphones. When she woke up again, these headphones gave her an idea. She used the colorful headphone wires to weave a not-too-small fishing net. The next day, she put her baby's fresh feces into the net. Then she lay on the container and stared intently at the fish on the hook. Sure enough, it didn't take long for the fish to be attracted by the smell. Just like that, after days of hunger, the woman finally had food. In the following days, she either nursed the baby or used the baby's feces to catch fish. In this perfect cycle, the caught fish couldn't be finished, solving the food problem. The woman started to regain her strength. She made a simple drainage device to control the water level inside the container. She also wrote numerous rescue letters in the plastic containers and tossed them into the ocean every few hours, hoping someone would come to their aid. But as the days passed, the vast sea showed no signs of rescue, and not even a speck could be seen on the horizon. The only consolation was her daughter, who ate and slept. But little did they know that they wouldn't enjoy this monotony for long. Due to prolonged exposure to seawater, on the 26th day of their confinement, the container finally reached its breaking point. The mother and daughter had to move to the top. As the woman contemplated how to survive the night, a seagull unexpectedly landed on the container. This meant land was nearby. The woman couldn't believe it. But to her dismay, the opening was suddenly breached by a rush of water at night. The seawater was rapidly flooding into the container. In order to prevent the container from sinking too quickly, the woman prepared to go down to seal the hole. But as soon as she descended, she was horrified to find that the container had already started to tilt. At the same time, the baby's little boat was being carried away by the currents. What's worse, in her panic, the woman's legs got entangled in the ropes. Seeing the container about to be completely submerged, the woman took out a dagger and plunged into the water to cut the ropes directly. But she didn't anticipate how tough the ropes were. It wasn't until she was nearly suffocated that she managed to cut them. The woman struggled to swim back to the surface. Just as she was about to look for her daughter, due to the pitch-black night and the constant swells of the sea, her daughter was nowhere to be seen on the water's surface. The woman became extremely anxious. She screamed her daughter's name at the top of her lungs. But to her dismay, not only did she not hear her daughter, a giant whale was attracted by the noise. Seeing Seeing this, the woman panicked and tried to swim away. However, she couldn't outswim the whale, but fortunately the whale only passed by and didn't harm her. It seemed like the whale knew the woman was looking for her baby, so it deliberately swam to where the baby was. The next moment, it sprayed a water column at the small boat, and the baby, drenched, started crying. At the same time, the mother instantly heard her baby crying, so she swam towards the sound. She quickly found her precious daughter, but at that moment, she heard a strange sound. The woman turned to look, only to realize that the kind-hearted whale was bidding them farewell. How long can the mother and daughter, without their container, last on this vast sea? The next day, they still hadn't encountered a single soul. The woman's consciousness was gradually blurring, yet her hands kept repeating one action. That was continuously throwing the fish bones from the eaten food in the preservation box into the sea. She hoped to attract seagulls to come and feed. This way, they might be noticed by passing ships. Again, time passed without knowing how long. Finally, a fishing boat passed by this area. The scene on the sea immediately caught the girls' attention. Then they changed their direction and came here. But they only saw a small boat. Together, they pulled the small boat aboard. Inside, to their surprise, was a fair-skinned baby. Just as the girl was puzzled, a rope connected to the small boat caught her attention. Then she struggled to pull up the rope. Finally, the great mother was rescued. It turned out that the child's boat had also started taking on water. To protect her daughter, the woman had to dive under and support the boat. That's what led to the scene before them. After the fishermen rescued the woman, they immediately started rescue efforts. But the woman had been submerged for too long, and her lips had already turned purple. Despite their efforts, the woman showed no response. At this moment, it seemed the baby sensed something and suddenly started to whimper. The girl was instantly moved by the baby, and her maternal instincts were stirred. She suddenly felt a surge of strength within her, and she began to administer aid once again. Finally, with their help, the woman miraculously woke up. Leaning on the deck, she couldn't believe all that had happened. A mother with her newborn child survived on the open sea for an entire month. Although there were many implausible elements in the struggle to survive, anyone who saw it would have to say, "Mother's love is truly great."